The Constitution of Nigeria is the supreme law of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Nigeria has had a series of constitutions. The Fourth Republic was birthed with the emergence of the current constitution. Nigeria had her first constitutions enacted during the colonial era. The constitutions enacted during this period were those of 1913, 1914, 1922, 1946, 1951, and 1954. In 1946, a new constitution was approved by Westminster and promulgated in Nigeria. Although it reserved effective power in the hands of the Governor-General and his appointed Executive Council, the Richards Constitution, named after the Governor-General, Sir Arthur Richard, who was responsible for its formulation, provided for an expanded legislative council empowered to deliberate on matters affecting the whole country. Separate legislative bodies, the House of Assembly, were established in each of the three regions to consider local questions and to advise the lieutenant governors. The introduction of the federal principle with deliberative authority devolved on the regions signaled recognition of the country's diversity. Although realistic in its assessment of the situation in Nigeria, the Richards Constitution undoubtedly intensified regionalism as an alternative to political unification. The Richards Constitution was suspended in 1950 against a call for greater autonomy, and a new constitution, though controversial, was drafted. The controversial Macpherson Constitution went into effect in 1951. The new charter reinforced the dual course of constitutional evolution, allowing for both regional autonomy and federal union, by extending the elective principle and by providing a central government with a council of ministers. The Macpherson Constitution gave renewed impetus to party activity and to political participation at the national level. The Littleton Constitution, enacted in 1954, firmly established the federal principle and paved the way for independence. Under the Constitution, Nigeria retained Queen Elizabeth II as titular head of state. The 1963 Constitution was Nigeria's second constitution, which established the country as a federal republic. The Constitution continued in operation until a military coup in 1966 overthrew Nigeria's democratic institutions. In 1979, the Constitution, which brought in the Second Republic, abandoned the Westminster system in favor of an American-style presidential system, with a directly elected executive to avoid the pitfalls of the First Republic. The Constitution mandated that political parties and cabinet positions reflect the federal character of the nation. Political parties were required to be registered in at least two-thirds of the states, and each state had to have at least one member of the cabinet from it. The 1993 Constitution was intended to see the return of democratic rule to Nigeria with the establishment, but was never fully implemented, and the military retained the power until 1999.
The step taken by the law enforcement agents is a legitimate exercise in the performance of their duties.
The 1999 Constitution restored democratic rule to Nigeria and remains in force today. In January 2011, two amendments of the 1999 Constitution were signed by the former President Goodluck Jonathan, the first modifications since the document came into use in 1999. The 1999 Constitution is again requiring a review, and so the gathering of a joint working committee of the National Assembly in Lagos. The joint committees, comprising senators and members of the House of Representatives, are to review and fix the Constitution in a way that must carry all Nigerians along. The governor of Lagos State, Akinwumi Ambode, declares the 4-day retreat open. Talking tough, He challenges the legislators to look into the issues of state policing that has been on the front burner in recent times, while calling for a proper devolution of powers at the center.
The defining feature of federalism is the autonomy and recognition of the separateness and independence of each government that makes up the federation. If this is true, we must therefore ask ourselves these salient questions. Why should states be precluded from performing several important constitutional responsibilities? Why does the federal government hold legislative and executive powers on matters of local concern, which overstretch its administrative and supervisory abilities? Why should the Land Use Act, NYSC Act, Code of Conduct Act form part of the Constitution? We just have some selected areas that I just want to bring to your attention. The executive list and devolution of powers. We believe that the principle of appropriateness should guide the sharing of powers between the federal and state governments. Our political experience and long era of military rule has resulted in the exclusive legislative list being tilted heavily in favor of the federal government at the expense of state governments. The effect is that while the states are precluded from performing several important constitutional responsibilities, the federal government is equally unable to function effectively as it holds legislative and executive powers on matters of local or community concern, which overstretch its administrative and supervisory abilities.
The Lagos State Governor is also not comfortable with the current revenue sharing formula among the federal, state and local governments. He advises that the 1999 Constitution be fixed before the 2019 election.